was a deacon in the Catholic Church. He died 2 years ago of a stroke. He was a genius of a man. He invented 12. He had 12 patents. He invented the electronic sewing machine, among other things. He was an engineer. He had a successful healing ministry. He healed people of depression and all types of mental illnesses. Here's his obituary. He wrote a book called Modern Proofs of God, but he never got it published. Here it is in its rough form. I have it right here. Not a lot of people have a copy of this. It's a very rare book. And here are the chapter titles. First chapter is called Common Sense, Science, and Relevance. But it's basically about his formula and how he determines what he considers proof and evidence or not. We're going to cover chapter 5. Chapter 5. It's about modern methods of resuscitation are so effective that millions of people have survived clinical death. That means they were restored to life from a condition of no pulse, no breathing, and no brain activity as measured by an electroencephalogram, or EEG for short. Many survivors reported fantastic out-of-body experiences. Their reports were similar even though they came from widely divergent religious backgrounds, including atheism. Many common features surprised everyone because they were not part of anyone's prior beliefs. Raymond Moody, MD, author of Life After Life. I believe that's a book about the doctor interviews many people who had near-death experiences, and he studies them extensively. He found that near-death experiences are not essentially different from clinical death cases. They form a continuum. Other doctors concurred, including Dr. Melvin Morse and a whole bunch of others. The near-death person travels rapidly through a long, dark tunnel. At the end of the tunnel is a being of light, brighter than the sun, but delightful to see. The being exudes warmth and love, yet displays in a panoramic, simultaneous manner all the bad the person has done in life, as well as the good. Deceased relatives or friends may appear and communicate information previously unknown to the person. They may lead the person to a place which is beautiful beyond expression. At a certain point, some sort of barrier is approached beyond which the person may not go and still return to his body. He does not want to return because he is experiencing indescribable joy, love, peace, and knowledge. Suddenly he finds himself back in his body, is conscious, and feels physical pain again. Obviously, such reports provoke controversy. Many objectors do not accept a spiritual being of any kind until Dr. Moody's first book was published. Doctors treated near-death experience as hallucinations or dreams. Most still do, even though Moody's work triggered an avalanche of research which supports the spiritual explanation and negates all others. Arguments pro and con will now be considered. Dr. Maurice Rawlings made much of the fact that people learn things while their bodies were in clinical death. Since a flat line on an EEG shows that the brain is not involved in the learning, then something else is thinking and learning, such as the soul. Given the nature of the information acquired during clinical death, the best explanation is that the person exists in a spiritual form. For example, many communicated validly with deceased people who would be in a spiritual form. After resuscitation, when the spirit re-enters the body and reconnects to the brain, the two again work as one. The facts learned by one spirit during clinical death can then be spoken through normal brain functioning. Several kinds of new information learned during clinical death are now discussed. Carol Roberts, who had a near-death experience from a cerebral hemorrhage, could feel every feeling that the nurse and doctors was having at the time, even though that went through every thought that went through their mind and every feeling inside them. She knew that one of the nurses really had compassion for her, yet wanted to get off work soon because she had, quote, a really hot date. She also reported that she tried to touch the doctor and her hand went right through him. She went through a door without opening it. Her husband was praying for her, but inwardly, Carol convinced her husband that her experience was real when she told him exactly what his prayer was. Accurate information received from other deceased people rebuts the skeptics who say that near-death experiences are really dreams or hallucinations. Aside from the problem that people can neither dream nor hallucinate when they are brain dead, the people seen in near-death experiences sometimes provide accurate, new information. V. Horton died during gallbladder surgery. While in the near-death experience, she learned she had a brother who died before she was born. This was confirmed later by her father. Small children in near-death experiences meet grandparents and others who had died long before these children were born. They could identify them by name and relationship when looking through family albums. Older people also met unknown relatives, such as siblings who died as infants. Moody gives many accounts of the dead person being approached by deceased relatives, friends, and people they know. Dr. Morse, after many years of study, found that near-death experiences are not hallucinations, nor caused by psychological stress, nor by drugs. Rather, drugs such as Valium, which are used in resuscitation after cardiac arrest, causes amnesia, which blocks out such experiences. Morse's book compares the effects of a large number of drugs with near-death experiences. He found that none are comparable. Dr. Morse considered every kind of explanation for near-death experiences offered by skeptics. Many of the patients who had full-blown near-death experiences were not being treated with any hallucination medications at all.